Hello and good day. Welcome back to our class. This is Teacher Ono de Guzman, and our topic for today is solving quadratic equations by completing the square. Here are the steps in solving quadratic equation by completing the square. So number one is divide both sides of the equation by the coefficient of the quadratic term a in order to make the coefficient 1. Number two is isolate the constant term. So number three is complete the square. It means that multiply the coefficient of the linear term by 1/2, then square the result. And letter B is add the value obtained in the step A on both sides of the equation. Number four, express the trinomial as a square of a binomial. Number five, use the square root method to find the solution. And number six is check the solutions obtained against the original equation. Let's consider problem number one. Solve x squared minus 2x minus 3 is equal to 0 by completing the square. Since our numerical coefficient of a here is equal to 1, so we don't need to divide both sides of the equation by 1. So what we're going to do is isolate the constant term. So it means if I have x squared minus 2x minus 3 is equal to 0, by adding both sides of the equation by 3, I will have now x squared minus 2x is equal to 3. Next, so letter B is complete the square. So I'll get the numerical coefficient of negative 2x. So this is the linear term. So I have now negative 2 times 1/2, that is equal to negative 1. Then square it. So negative 1 squared is equal to 1. So take note this number, negative 1 and positive 1 and negative 1. So therefore, I'll add this positive 1 on both sides of the equation. So I have now x squared minus 2x plus 1 is equal to 3 plus 1. We get this 3 from x squared minus 2x is equal to 3. So that is why to maintain equality, we add both sides of the equation by 1. So we have now x squared minus 2x plus 1 is equal to 4. Letter C, that is express the trinomial as a square of binomial. Take note that x here is actually one of the factors of x squared. And the negative 1 is derived from 1/2 of the numerical coefficient of the linear term. Then we have x minus 1 squared is equal to 4. Next, use the square root method to find the solution. So if we will extract the square root of both sides of the equation, so that is the square root of x minus 1 squared is equal to square root of 4. So we will come up with x minus 1 is equal to plus or minus 2, because the square root of 4 is equal to plus or minus 2. Okay? So let's solve for the value of x minus 1 equals 2. So that is why we will add both sides of the equation by 1. So we'll come up with x is equal to 2 plus 1, or x is equal to 3. On the other hand, if I have x minus 1 is equal to negative 2, adding both sides of the equation by positive 1 to eliminate here negative 1. So I have here x is equal to negative 2 plus 1. So x is equal to negative 1. Now that we found out the value of x, so we will check the solutions. So if x is equal to 3, it means that using the original equation x squared minus 2x minus 3, so substitute the value of x is equal to 3 to all values of x here. So I come up now with 3 squared minus 2 times 3 minus 3 is equal to 0. So take note that 3 squared is equal to 9. Negative 2 times 3 is negative 6. Minus 3 minus 0. So 9 minus 6 minus 3, so that is equal to 3 minus 3 is equal to 0. So 0 equals 0. On the other hand, if x is equal to negative 1, okay, using the original solution again, or original equation, simply substitute x is equal to negative 1. So I have negative 1 squared minus 2 times negative 1 minus 3 is equal to 0. Take note that negative 1 squared is equal to 1. Negative 2 times negative 1 is positive 2, minus 3 is equal to 0. So 1 plus 2 is equal to 3 minus 3, so that is equal to 0 is equal to 0. So therefore, we can say that the values of x, or x is equal to 3, or x is equal to negative 1. So let's move on to example number 2. Solve x squared plus 4x minus 21 is equal to 0 by completing the square. Again, so we will not divide both sides of the equation by the numerical coefficient of x, which is equal to 1. So that's quite impractical. So what we're going to do is isolate the constant term. So that is why we will add both sides of the equation by positive 21. So we will come up with the equation x squared plus 4x is equal to 21. Next step is to complete the square. So meaning to say, we will get the numerical coefficient of 4x, which is equal to 4, and get 1/2 of it. So 1/2 times 4 is equal to positive 2. Then after that, we will square that 2. So 2 squared is equal to 4. Next, so we will add this 4 on both sides of the equation of x squared plus 4x is equal to 21. So that is why we'll come up with x squared plus 4x is equal to 25. Letter C. Now we will express the trinomial as a square of binomial. So again, so we have here x as one of the factors of x squared, or this is actually x here is the square root of x squared. Then the 2 here is actually the 1/2 of the numerical coefficient of 4x. Then we have 25. So if we will extract both sides of the equation, so we will come up with square root of x plus 2 squared is equal to 25. So it means that is equal to x plus 2 is equal to plus or minus 5. Since we have two values of, okay, square root of 25, so we'll come out with x plus 2 is equal to 5. So, to solve for x, we subtract both sides of the equation by 2. So, we come up with x is equal to 5 minus 2, or x is equal to 3. On the other hand, if I have x plus 2 is equal to negative 5, subtracting both sides of the equation by negative 2, so I have here x is equal to negative 5 minus 2, or x is equal to negative 7. Since we found out that x is equal to 3 and x is equal to 7, let's check values whether that will make the equation true. So it means if x is equal to 3, using the original equation, so substitute to the value of x is equal to 3. So you have 3 squared plus 4 times 3 minus 21, is it equal to 0? So we have here 3 squared is equal to 9 plus 12 minus 21 equals 0. Or 9 plus 12 is equal to 21 minus 21 is equal to 0. So therefore, 0 equals 0. On the other hand, if x is equal to negative 7, again, substitute negative 7 to the original equation. So I have negative 7 squared plus 4 times negative 7 minus 21. So take note that negative 7 squared is equal to 49. Then we have 4 times negative 7 is negative 28 minus 21 is equal to 0. So 49 minus 28 is equal to 21 minus 21 equals 0. So therefore, we can say that the values of x is equal to 3, or x is equal to negative 7. Let's consider problem number 3. Solve 2x squared plus 8x minus 10 is equal to 0 by completing the square. Take note that the numerical coefficient of a here is not equal to 1. So, we will move on to our step number 1, meaning to say, divide both sides of the equation by the coefficient of the quadratic term a in order to make that coefficient 1. It means that if I have 2x squared plus 8x minus 10 is equal to 0, I divide both sides of the equation by 2. Okay? So it will result now to 2x squared divided by 2 equals x squared. 8x divided by 2 will give us 4x. Negative 10 divided by 2 will give us negative 5. And 0 divided by 2 is equal to 0. Alright, so we will move on to the next step. So that is isolate the constant term of x squared plus 4x minus 4 is equal to 0 by adding both sides of the equation by 5, or simply move negative 5 on the other side of the equation. So that will become x squared plus 4x is equal to 5. Next, complete the square. So take note that we will get the numerical coefficient of 4x. So that is equal to 4. Get 1 half of it. So that is why we have 1 half times 4 is equal to 2. Then after that, square it. So we have 2 squared is equal to 4. So we have now, we will add this 4 to both sides of this equation. So we have here x squared plus 4x plus 4 is equal to 5 plus 4. So it will result to x squared plus 4x plus 4 is equal to 9. Next step is express the trinomial as a square of binomial. So what we're going to do is, again, the square root of x squared is equal to x. And the 2 here is derived from 1 half of the middle term, or the linear or the numerical coefficient of the linear term. Then we have 9. Then extract the root of both sides of the equation. So that is why we have square root of x plus 2 squared is equal to square root of 9, or x plus 2 is equal to plus or minus 3. So there are two values. So on the first side, or on the left hand side, so we have x plus 2 is equal to 3. So we have, again, subtracting both sides of the equation by 2. So we have x is equal to 3 minus 2. So we have x is equal to 1. On the other hand, if I have here x plus 2 is equal to negative 3, subtracting both sides of the equation by 2, so I have here x is equal to negative 2, or negative 3 minus 2, so x is equal to negative 5. Okay, since I found out two values of x, let's use them in order to check whether those values will satisfy the given equation. So if x is equal to 1, using the original equation, substitute the value of x is equal to 1. So I have here 2 times 1 squared plus 8 times 1 minus 10. But take note that 1 squared is equal to 1 times 2 is equal to 2. Then we have 8 times 1 is equal to 8, minus 10 equals 0. So 2 plus 8 is equal to 10 minus 10, so that is equal to 0 equals 0. On the other hand, if x is equal to negative 5, so substitute that to the original equation. So I have 2 times negative 5 squared plus 8 times negative 5 minus 10. But take note that negative 5 times negative 5 is 25, times 2 is equal to 50. Positive 8 times negative 5 is equal to negative 40 minus 10. So 50 minus 40 equals 10, minus 10 equals 0. So 0 equals 0. So therefore, x is equal to 1, or x is equal to negative 5. So that ends our discussion on solving quadratic equation by completing the square. Again, so this is Teacher Onen de Guzman. Do not forget to subscribe to my channel so that you will be notified about my new videos. Thank you.